welcome to Paranormal Gateway World. My name is Scott Wise, the host, and our host joining me is Mel Afterthoughts.
Tonight's special guest is Lynn Tincher, paranormal investigator from Beyond This Life Paranormal and co-host of the podcast Weirdos in the Wild. Lynn was born just outside of Louisville, Kentucky, in the beautiful city of La Grange. One of her fondest memories of growing up was when her English teacher read a short story she wrote in front of the students of Oldham County High School. Since then, her love of writing blossomed. She studied theater arts at Eastern Kentucky University, hoping to become a drama or English teacher. Lynn had several articles published in local magazines and online, but the thought of writing a novel always stuck with her. Inspired by Nora Roberts and Greg Iles, Lynn wrote Afterthoughts, the first book in the Mind-Bending series, a fictional psychological crime series that follows the life of young Louisville Police detective named Paige Aldridge. Blackwyrm Fiction picked up Afterthoughts for publication in 2008. When she signed the contract, it landed Lynn on the center page of a story in Leo Weekly. Since then, Lynn released Left in the Dark, Buried Deep, Where There Is Light, and the fifth book, Junna, will release soon. Plus many more accomplishments you'll have to find out by tuning in. Tonight, one lucky person from the comments will win the Mind-Bending series, all 4 books, digital copies, through a drawing at the end of the show. Stay tuned to find out how. So without further ado, let's welcome Lynn to the show.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm doing good. It's good to be here.
Hey, great to have you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just told you earlier about reading your book, the first one, and it's awesome. But at the end, it's like, it's like a mind-bending. Yeah, but it is.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It's great. I got there with the authors too. So I'll start off with asking you about your journey as a paranormal investigator, how you got involved in the field.
Okay. Well, it's really started, my interest in it really started when I was young. I was about 12 years old, I believe, and I had I have a rare heart condition called Brugada syndrome, and at the time I didn't know what it was, but I had passed away in my sleep and had a near-death experience where I actually came out of my body and floated through the ceiling and saw the house from above the roof, and I remember looking down at myself and saying, hey, I'm not done with her yet. She's got to get married. She's going to have kids. She's got to do this, this, and this. And I went whoosh, right back into my body. And then I woke up, and you know how you get that tingly feeling when your foot falls asleep? Mm-hmm. That's how I felt from head to toe. And it seems like from that point on is when I started to see things. I started to see shadow people. I started to see people behind me in mirrors, and started to feel and experience things differently than what I did before that happened. But, being young and back in the day, you didn't really talk about it to anybody. So I didn't say much until.
It's scary as hell when it happened to you. Like, what?
And people think you're crazy when you talk about it. But if, several years later, my brother, John Tincher, got into investigating with Keith Age and doing some filming with the Booth brothers. And he was really getting immersed into the paranormal world that I said, hey, I want to investigate with you. So I started, my first investigation was Waverly Hills several years ago. And that kind of got me hooked. But it wasn't until 2 years ago when I went with my brother, and I brought a friend of mine from work, and my daughter, and we went to Ross Opera House in Cynthiana. And as soon as we walked in, someone said, well, one of the hot spots is behind the screen, which is, Ross Opera House still operates now as a movie theater. So my friend and my daughter and I went straight backstage. We hadn't turned the lights off or anything. And we're standing behind the stage, behind the screen, and we could see something moving along the screen. And when that happened, all of a sudden it leaned out and stared at us, maybe 6-8 feet away from us. And all 3 of us just stood there with our mouths open, staring at a shadow person for probably 15 to 20 seconds, and before it finally moved back and went on about its business. And we all kind of looked at each other and said, okay, we're hooked. So we asked my brother, I'm like, can we join the team? He's like, yes. So been part of Beyond This Life Paranormal since then. And then he passed away in December last year, and we've been keeping it going in his honor since then. So there's, quite a few of us on the team. We have, Joe Morris and Haley Mings and Missy Steyer, AJ Oxley, Becca Zadoroshny, and then me. So we've been keeping it going in his name.
That's awesome.
Thanks. So it's just, and now it's all up from here.
Yeah. So can you share some of your experiences while investigating over the years?
Oh gosh, where to start? We've had so many things. Like that night at Ross Opera House, that wasn't the only experience we had with a shadow person. Mm-hmm. There was one point I was up in the balcony and I turned around and there's one leaning over my shoulder, and I screamed, and Haley said, "What did you see?" And I said, "There was a shadow." I mean, I didn't scream. I just kind of was like, "Oh my God." And so there was a shadow leaning over my shoulder. I said, mm-hmm. I think I'm going to move over there. So I got up and moved to the other side of the balcony. But we would stand down at the stage and look up in the balcony. We could see him moving back and forth across the back of the balcony. And then later, the rest of the team was back behind the stage doing the Estes method, where you listen through the speakers and you're blindfolded so you can't see or hear anything that's going on.
Yeah, we know about that one.
Yeah. So,
yeah, too.
Yeah, it's Haley is like the queen at that. She's really amazing. So they're behind the stage, and AJ, my friend AJ, and I are sitting in the seats in the theater, maybe 2 or 3 seats apart. And I noticed I could see something like coming around the side of me, just a little bit of a shadow. And I'm like, okay, there's something. I couldn't tell exactly where it was, but AJ turns around, and all of a sudden he screams an obscenity. And I'm like, what? He said, there was a shadow was leaning over your shoulder like it was trying to read something over your shoulder. I was like, yeah, I know. I could see it from the side a little bit. So that night was really, I mean, it was off the chain. So we've been addicted to that ever since. But we've gotten lots of EVPs. We've been touched. AJ was poked in the face when we were at 101 Para Cafe in Indiana. I mean, it's just so much. Seen the full body apparition there as well. I saw a white lady at Post Town. That was pretty amazing. She was down in the cafeteria. I mean, every time I go, I see something new. We've seen big glowing orbs. We've seen small balls of light. We've gotten tons of, heard a lot of voices, disembodied voices. But we were at Scott County, Tennessee. And we're all sitting upstairs, kind of in a little area at the prison, kind of in a little area around where all the rooms are. And my brother said he could see something kept passing in front of us. So he had his full spectrum camera, and he kept taking pictures, just one after the other. I think he'd taken like 40 pictures, and finally he got it. And you could see it like standing right in front of me, and it's like a shadowy figure. And we put that up on our website, like just one picture without it and then one with it. It's like, what is this thing, So I don't discount much of anything, because I think at this point we've seen so much that it's been pretty amazing adventure.
Yeah, we're a Post Town also.
Uh-huh.
And we caught one of us evidence there. In gymnasium, or auditorium, I call it gym.
Yeah.
You got all basketballs and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Mel's probably tired of me telling this story over and over. But the best evidence I ever got, well, I guess you saw the wheelchair there. Remember they had the wheelchair that you pushed around. They were pushing around, keeping around a little bit, but one of the guys put the basketball on it in the auditorium. And me and the other guys downstairs sat up in the cafeteria. And he came down and asked if somebody had the ball took off the chair. We said no. We were up there. So anyways, we caught that on video. So that's Safeway.
I was going to say do a full screen. Yeah.
Wow, that was amazing.
Yeah. If I second time tried to recreate it, I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
Oh well, they try again. So
Uh,
I like to go back to it again. We stayed a weekend last time. So. I was there.
my favorite
She
place.
loved it there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very active there.
Yeah.
I,
I'll think about it. He's such a true heart.
yeah,
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
nice.
yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I think we'd stayed in because they have that room that has all the beds in it, and we stayed in that overnight. And
Me
the
too.
next morning I got up and I was just kind of wandering around taking pictures before I left because I wanted some in the daytime too, just to see what I could see. And I went down to where the principal's office is and took some pictures. And when I was coming out, something chased me out that I couldn't see, but I could hear it coming up just shuffling behind me all the way up the hall. And I'm like, I'm going, I'm leaving. So there's a lot going on there, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's all my favorite fishes so far. Yeah. Particularly that mustard got. Yeah.
So you've obviously had a lot of experience and stuff when you're out investigating. What do you think is most rewarding about investigating?
For me, me personally, what's most rewarding is the fact that it's opened my mind to a lot of things. I don't discount much now. I found out I wasn't quite as insane as I thought I was when I was younger and started seeing these things, that they are truly there. But I also there's been some incidents where I've been with Missy's, especially, or someone like Missy, who is she's a Reiki master. I'm a Reiki master as well, but where she can actually help a spirit and communicate with them and be able to help them move over. I think that is something that, I don't even know how you can actually do anything better than that, honestly. So to me, to be able to help and be empathetic for the spirits that are there is just an amazing thing.
That's really cool. What all goes into studying to become a Reiki master? What all do you do with that?
Well, Reiki is a Japanese healing modality. So I went into it with the heart disease that I have, trying to find some natural way to help myself, because with it, I can't take a lot of medications. And that's what you learn is the healing piece of it. You have to go through trainings and attunements and learning different symbols and all this stuff to be able to do it. And you don't learn helping spirits move on or anything like that. But when you're learning about different energies and different frequencies and being able to channel that energy. And that's actually what you use when you're up against somebody that needs help. You can use that energy to reach out to the other side or reunite loved ones or, draw them in or whatever. So even though you don't specifically learn Reiki to do that, it just seems to come natural. And I think when you go through the attunements for the Reiki and you're cleaning out your own energy field, that makes you more open to be able to see these things as well. And, lifts your vibration to where you're more on the level that they are, I think.
That's really cool. That's not something that I know a lot about personally, so it's really interesting to hear people talk about it.
Yeah.
I think that's really neat.
Yeah.
So,
and it really helped me. It helped a lot health-wise.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
I recommend it.
Yeah, something that would be interesting to try.
Yeah. So there's several Reiki masters out there that can teach. I'm one of the ones that can teach, and so is Missy on our team. that we can help attune and teach. I've got reached master level in Usui and also Karuna level in the Holy Fire. So spent a lot of time learning and practicing it all.
So do you do like classes or lessons and stuff, or do you like teach more people on your team? Like, is that something that you focus on since you're also doing investigating and writing and a slew of other things?
Yeah, I have taught. I've taught some friends. I taught my brother on the Karuna and helped attune him on that. But I've got a big event coming up that we'll announce soon that I'm going to be doing some classes at a certain location that I'm not going to disclose yet until we get it all lined out. But hopefully we'll get a good crew in, and I can bring a couple of my other Reiki master friends with me to help. So hopefully we have a large crowd where I need all that help, because it's a pretty phenomenal experience.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, that sounds fun. So, you said about teaching. Do you have a book or something that you would write for that, or?
I use because I'm affiliated with the Reiki Association. I use their textbooks.
Oh, okay.
It's the same ones that I learned from, so they're the ones that I teach for, and that way anyone that learns Reiki through me is also certified that they can apply for them, and it puts you in a nationwide database, and you have their support behind you. So
So since you do have these other roles and everything that you're also working on, how do you balance doing all of this stuff?
Sometimes not very well.
Damn, that's a good question.
Yeah, I got a lot going on. But as far as as far as writing goes, I have to take vacations usually to where I can focus on that, because doing a lot of the other things, it's it can be pretty time consuming, because we do investigate pretty often, and we do go to private residences, and you were asking about rewarding. That's another piece of it, I think, is rewarding, when you can go to a private residence and say, hey, we didn't find anything, or we found anything, it's not bad, or we can help get rid of something, just something to help the homeowners feel better in their home. But as far as trying to balance everything, I just have to take it a day at a time, trying to prioritize. But
yeah,
my writing seems to be the thing that suffers the most on trying to find the time to do. So I have to force myself to set aside the time to do that.
Well, I shared also a little ways down the list of it where you help teach how to write.
Yeah, I do two different. Well, this year I'm doing 2 different workshops at Imaginarium, which is a big writers conference here in Louisville. What I do is different workshops on interviewing your characters, and we could do a whole dossier on your character, and it could include everything that the character could possibly do. It doesn't have to necessarily go into the story, but it helps the writer understand their characters better. And then this year I'm introducing and doing a workshop on doing something very similar about a location or different locations in your book, so that you can really get a good feel. And that helps. It helps me, and from what I've heard from people that have taken the class, that it helps them to understand how their character can behave and keep their characters consistent, as well as giving them an outline to help grow. And it also helps when you're stuck with writer's block, you can go back and reread some of your interview questions and say, hey, that the only thing they have in their fridge is ketchup. Maybe I'll write about that and see where that takes me. So they kind of write
like creative writing.
Yeah. So
then you can also, if you get the character like you do, you can do like a series of books.
Yeah,
like you did for your book.
And it helps you keep your characters consistent. Like some of the questions are simple as what color are their eyes. You don't have to try to remember or go back and reread what color eyes you gave them. It's right there in your interview. So it's a quick reference to keep things organized.
Right.
But it's a lot of fun. And the classes, when I teach them, we actually develop a character together, and then everybody writes a story on that character. And it's absolutely insane how each character can have all the same qualities or the same background, and they take it and they come out with 20 different stories, completely different stories based on the same information. So, it just really shows that that's a guideline, that the creativity comes from, the author. So it's a really fun workshop. I love doing it.
Yeah, that sounds really, really cool. I think the idea of doing the interviews sounds really cool. That's not something I've ever considered. I love also that you apply it to locations. I think that's a really, really cool idea.
Yeah, I actually had someone that reviewed my book at one point said that I used the location as a character, and I'm like, oh, I can run with that. Like that.
Wow, that's really cool.
Did you write about your hometown?
Did I write about what? Sorry.
Your hometown?
Yes, actually, I do. So, because I think, a lot of my readers are local, so that helps keep them interested. So. But I try not to make it too rigid. It's fiction, so I don't want it to be too tied to anything that anybody's going to get mad at me for.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's fun.
I might have to switch to a different mic. I keep hearing myself.
Uh-oh.
Do you hear
Let
me?
me move my mic away from the speaker a little bit. Is that any better?
Testing. I still hear. Oh, maybe from my end. Hey, Mel, talk to us.
What?
Okay, it's Thursday, so yeah. Sorry. Oh, okay. It's best there two of us, I guess. I think it's better. Okay, yeah. All right. Cool. Whatever it did, they worked. So, as long as you still hear us. So. Oh boy.
So let's see. Still on writing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What inspired you to pursue a career in writing?
Basically, well, I've always been writing. Like you said in my intro, what really got me interested in it was when my teacher read a short story that I wrote. Because when I wrote it, I just had fun writing it, and I was really surprised that she viewed it as something done well enough that she wanted the school to hear it. So that inspired me. So I always kind of dabbled in it, but I wanted to be in theater because I was doing that too, and I had a lot of different interests. But writing kind of stuck behind my, the back of my brain that I wanted to do it. Then I had a dream about the main story in Afterthoughts, which started the series, and that dream just kind of stuck in my head for so long. And I finally, started writing it, and over the years I'd write it and my computer would crash, or I'd lose it, or whatever. So I never finished it until I went and took a vacation and banged out the entire first draft, and then kind of fleshed it out a little bit. But then I was like, now what do I do with it? But I went through the whole querying agents and publishers and blah, blah, blah. And I actually got in touch with Piers Anthony, which is one of my favorite sci-fi authors when I was younger, because he does a bunch of research on publishing companies and all that. And I'm like, here I am. I've actually had 8 agents take interest, but I couldn't land anybody. I'm like, what do I do? And he told me to self-publish and start to get a following. And once that happened, that a publisher might pay attention and pick me up. And that's exactly what happened. I went to a writer's group, and someone showed up with my book and said, asked me to autograph it. And then he said, I'm with Blackwyrm Publications and I want to publish this and anything else you write. And I'm like, yay, of course. So,
that's awesome.
So he published me. And then when the movie started coming about, because it was Afterthoughts was signed for a film.
Nice.
Then I pulled the rights back, and then I ended up with another publisher, with Hydra Publications. They're great. They're local, and I could keep a lot more control with them. And so he's got my Mindbending series, and I'm working on a young adult fantasy series too that he's picked up. So I got a lot of writing to find time to do in the middle of all this other stuff. But it's been fun. So basically, it was that dream that kept prodding me in the back of my head that made me actually sit down and write the novel. So.
Wow. That's really cool. Like, how does it feel how did it feel when you were approached and he was like, hey, I want to publish like everything and then to have the movie? Like, how does that?
It's kind of surreal for me.
Yeah.
My main thing, and I didn't mind just leaving it and being self-published, because I just really wanted my kids to hold it and be proud, hey, mom did this. And so everything that happened beyond that has just been icing on the cake. I didn't expect any of it to happen. And at times I still think, I can't believe it has happened. And most of the time I'm thinking, I don't deserve this. You get into that imposter syndrome really big.
Yeah.
So, it's just, I just kind of take it as it comes. I don't, it's just one more thing that my kids, that hopefully they're proud of me for.
So,
that's there, but you actually get to be a producer also on that?
Do I? Oh, yeah. It's just mostly a title.
It's all the credits at the end, right? It's all that matters.
That's right.
It could be this tiny going real quick, but
they made a short film off of it to show to investors, and they got to premiere it at different 6 or 7 different film festivals it got into, and it won a Remy Award, the short film, and it's only 8 minutes long. But to actually stand in a theater or sit in a theater and see, my name going up the credits was just, I was sitting there with my phone taking pictures. I can't believe that's me, but
that's me.
So hopefully one day we'll actually get to see the feature or the television. They've talked both directions. It's either going to be movie or television. So we'll see.
That's exciting.
Maybe work out to a Lifetime movie. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would.
So I'm sure either way would be exciting. Do you have, if you were going to make a decision, do you have a preference between whether it would be a movie or a TV show?
Not anymore. I think when we first started talking about it, I would have preferred a movie. But with the way things stream now and people binge watch television, that's also a good avenue, and it's what they have developed for TV. It could just keep going and going and going. They try to develop that so they can do that anyway. But so either way is really exciting, and I'll be happy. I was real happy with just to have the little 8-minute short.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have any advice or recommendations for aspiring authors?
Don't give up. Don't fall victim to imposter syndrome, because that is what's almost stopped me several times. I've always felt like what I've done has not been good enough, but obviously it was good enough for somebody. So don't listen to that evil little voice in your head that tells you that you're not good enough. So just keep plugging and don't give up. And you never know who you run into that's going to help take you to that next step. So
quiet. Just be back in. Get my dog's barking here. Get in this chair.
I have 4 of them. I understand.
What are your dogs' names?
I have Finn and Ray and Suds and Bubbles.
That's cute.
Yeah. They're rotten, my baby.
I'm back up here for the sake of notes. I want to ask you earlier, what impact has living on a farm had on your personal creative life and about your organic gardening?
Um, the farm gives me a sense of peace because I write some really dark fiction, some really, mentally exhausting things. So the farm gives me some peace. I can go outside and look at a tree or, sit in the sunshine or something that kind of brings me back, to even emotions because I get really tied into what I'm writing. But I really tried to, with my heart disease and just trying to be healthier, buying the farm and having chickens for a while until the raccoons destroyed them all. But, doing organic gardening and all that's just number one way to give me some exercise. So I'm, so I sit at the computer a lot. And number two, just the fact that I'm eating healthier, being better for the environment and better for myself. So it's a great compliment for me to have the farm side as well as all this other stuff going on. So gives me a good sense of balance.
That's what I need now. Yeah. But I have to also just go out and walk around your land back. I mean, must be a beautiful place.
Yeah, I really like it. I was out walking around just before the show and finding fossils and stuff laying around, and it's just
wow.
It's just
I'm walking out here. I'm walking here. I might find that beer can where. No, it's not that bad anymore. Actually, it's a nice place now. So it's not bad. But I got a parking lot right out here, so I can't do much walking. Look at my son go out to me. Well, it's just dark. It's nice now. I see out more often. So. Yeah, I gotta get more. So, but that's all over to next weather. Me and Mel are gonna go to cemetery. Got a pasta how to do still. It's passed there earlier in the introduction, but about the authors of books that had influenced on your writing, storytelling. I think you mentioned that at the beginning.
How the authors influenced me. So,
yeah.
Well, Nora Roberts was always my favorite author, although what she writes mostly, the romance side, I really enjoyed. But when she started writing the mystery side under whatever her other pseudonym is, can't think right now. But when she started writing the mystery side, that's when I started, kind of getting inspired to write mysteries too. But Gregory Isles writes paranormal things that, he writes about ghosts and different things that really got me into thinking, hey, I could do this. This is this story affected me,
Gregory Isles?
Yeah, his book Sleep No More. I just fell in love with that one.
I'll put that down. Is that Gregory Isles?
ISLES.
Okay. I'll check all that out.
He writes a lot of mystery with paranormal aspects to it.
Oh, that's awesome. My kind of book.
Yeah. He's really good. So the book Sleep No More is what really inspired me. Sleep No More.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Cool. Somebody else I can read now. Somebody else I can read now.
Yeah. Now hopefully he doesn't let you down. No, he won't let you down. He's pretty awesome.
I got to read the rest of your books first. I got that in my Kindle.
It won't take long. They're not big books.
No, I read those in like 3 hours. So.
Yeah, my original publisher liked the short, novella, almost novel length, because he wanted them. He was trying to gear things towards people who are traveling and on a plane and all that, so they could have quick reads and So when I co-wrote The Devil's Mark with Tony Acree, who is the publisher with Hydra Publications, and it continues this story on my story with the Mindbending series and then his Hand of God series. We put them together and put them on an adventure. That was a big, thick book by the time we were done with it, by the time we had both of our characters taking some paranormal behind. That was a lot of fun. So we've got another one in the works now to follow that one up. So
I try to do short stories. Gonna have some patience to sit down and do a whole novel. Yeah.
It's hard to find that much time.
Right. Wow, outside world, where I just have this idea, and that idea, and that idea, and that idea. It's like all in one deal. Put all in one book.
Yeah. You could do a book of a bunch of short stories.
Yeah. Let's just do that. Where are we at here?
So, jumping back a little bit, you mentioned that you also do residential investigations. What do you consider to be one of the major differences between doing a residential investigation versus like a more public investigation?
Well, for one, the more public investigations, you count on it being haunted. There's the history there. Some of it, the stories, or what's happened there. What people have experienced. With the private investigation, most of the time you don't know that. Most of the time you're dealing with people who are either just curious about what's going on, or people that are really upset with what's going on. So you have that aspect of having to deal with someone else, where it's not just an established place that is okay for you to go and investigate. And then, a lot of times you go in and, nothing ever happens, which is good or bad, depending on, what you're trying to get out of it. But, it's just, I think it's just mostly that it's not, I don't want to say structured, but, you kind of go into the public places with a structured plan, and you know what to expect and what to take and what you're trying to do, where you don't necessarily know that when you're going up against something in a private residence, other than hearing what they've experienced.
We first started off, we were busy as hell with resident cases. And then it got dialed down a little bit. I think a lot of times when we go there and this happened, 90% of the time it could be debunked what's going on. So it's like we explain this what this is, and it's like the one was what is old radiators that was put from water to it. You probably one in your home growing up, probably one of those kind of radiators. Yeah. And it would make weird noise, like when it would fill up.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Is that what you heard? Yeah. I'm like, what? Really? And I think it was like a child driver's one.
Yeah.
Because we usually did depending on distance, we usually do a prelim investigation, get all the info and get back from Sour and do it around, and most of it too. But that was one of the times that we had that and thing over the way. And that sometimes the door that goes by itself, but if it's just off, a little bit, if it got tapped or something, you go and slant. So it's rates of gravity is what it was pointing at them.
Yeah. And it's important to debunk that stuff so that they feel comfortable, or and it leads to your credibility too, that you're not going in and trying to make stuff up or whatever, when you're actually saying, hey, this is probably what it is. Or sometimes you can't explain anything and you're like, well, it could be paranormal. So
I discussed this last week about EMF and how that can affect your hallucinations and paranoia and that kind of stuff too. And we asked to some places that EMF was off charts.
Yeah.
And they used to fix just because he was sick because of this. And then we took him down to the part of our supply box. It was all starts.
Mm-hmm.
And their wires were all old and cracked. And the house was built in the 50s. So it still had those cotton wrapped, cotton wrapped, and I think what it was anymore. But yeah, and they were all cotton sticking out and stuff. Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
So it's amazing. That's the time to go if you don't find something to get upset. We can't find it. We can't say it's haunted. Sorry.
Right. And, when you do find like the EMF stuff or, because a lot of people think that EMF going off means that there's a ghost, but really the whole reason that came to be was to prove that, or for you to be able to get like a baseline of a place to see what the EMF is, because when it's, like you say, when it's too high, it can cause you to be sick or experience these things. Yeah. So, the one thing we learn is, or that we do, is like, if the EMF is strong here and it stays strong here, it's not paranormal. If the EMF is here and it moves over there, it could be paranormal. If you can chase it around, but if there's something that's causing the EMF and it stays there, then that's probably bad wiring or something electronic that's setting that off.
So I'll least this up to EMF. I feel my went through and stuff. So when we did the investigations, so I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, found out many years ago that one of the first investigations we did, walking down the patient and by washing and dryer. And to her left and back and right, it was wolf. So yeah. So let's hear about your Red Cap ambassador for Heart Association.
Sorry, you broke up a little bit there.
I'm sorry. I'm looking now talk at the same time. I should have got this. It got dark here. Turn right out because I'm problem, Mike. So it's getting a little dark here. About the Red Cap ambassador for American Heart Association.
Yes, I was a Red Cap ambassador, and we did the Heart Walk and was a runway model for that a couple times with my mom. But, like I mentioned before, we have Brugada syndrome, which is a very rare heart condition that is one of the sudden arrhythmic death syndromes. So basically your heart can be just fine and then just stop, and usually in your sleep, which I think is what happened to me when I was 12. It is genetic. They diagnosed it in my mom before me, even though I knew I had a heart problem for a long time, and they couldn't figure out what it was. There's a certain EKG pattern that's associated with it. But it's, the only thing, or at least the only thing when I was going through it that could help, is a defibrillator, which I have one and my mom has one. And basically, it's there for when your heart stops, get you going again. So it took us from about a 8% survival rate during an episode to like 98% survival rate. So
wow, it's amazing to have that kind of stuff nowadays.
Yeah,
back 30, 40 years ago, you never know.
Yeah, and they didn't even know what this was until maybe 10 years ago. So
I ataxia for probably 8 years before I diagnosed it, because people thought I was drunk, or people thought they thought, well, I was under the influence of something or had a stroke. And I diagnosed with this, and the same thing. It's debilitating disease. There's no shit for it, but it's a bit. No, I was thinking now. So just basically, I was listening to you because you had but I understand that it was a while too. It also could be hereditary. I don't have a test coming up, genetic test coming up. So.
Well, good luck.
Yeah.
So it's tough living with genetic, especially genetic. Well, with anything really, but trying to figure out what gene is causing things or whatever. Because I really worry about passing it to my kids and my grandkids. And
I'm also a father's son too. So
yeah. So, but I was really glad to have been asked to do be the Red Cap ambassador and do their events to try to get information out about Brugada, because it was not recognized by most doctors. A lot of doctors hadn't heard about it at the time because it was so rare and they were just discovering it. So it's really trying to raise awareness. I don't think it's nearly as rare as what they say it is, or did say it was. So, if you're having problems, at least ask about it. So, if you have it, then get your defibrillator so you can survive an episode.
yeah, wonder some may skip a history too. I'm not sure how it works on some stuff, but so we'll find it out hopefully soon.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you.
Yep. It's been a long time coming. So. Another organization, Louisville Women Business and local chapter.
Yeah, it's a group where we try to help other local business owners and stuff to try to help develop their businesses or to network and try to help grow each other's businesses and just be there as a support group for each other. So it's been a good little organization. I did that, and then I did Louisville Women in Business for Good for a while too, which did something similar. Plus, we raised money and gave grants away to small businesses that would, apply to us, to try to help get them off the ground. Or through COVID, we were trying to help some of them even survive to get through COVID because, it really affected their businesses.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I like getting involved and trying to help.
And it goes out and about and move around.
Yeah.
That's the best sort of that. So
yeah.
That's nice to that you could do that.
Yeah. So hopefully that, doing this and then also doing the podcast and all that helps draw attention to some of the things that I'm trying to help draw attention to. So I try to find all the avenues I can to get out there.
Yeah. Well, podcasts will keep busy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's a lot of fun. It is a lot.
I told you, this October will be 3 years for us. So
yeah.
I love doing it though. It's fun. Get to be allowed meet people like you. It's awesome. You've accomplished so much, and there's when you sent me about it, I'm looking down more. Yes. Wow.
I put my fingers in a lot of
pots. Coming on.
Well, thank you. We're having a lot of fun with this and with the podcast, which is actually my friend AJ that's on our paranormal team. It was his idea. He and I worked together. We used to work really well together, and he's like, we should do a podcast, and it just kind of went from there. And it's we've got 8 episodes in so far, and it's been wildly successful. We've ended up with over 20,000 Facebook followers. Nice. If I could convert them all to listeners, we'd be doing really well. But, I think that I get a lot of comments that they just love the name of it, Weirdos in the Wild.
Yeah.
Collecting my group of weirdos. Love it.
I'm not as boring as Paranormal here. Oh, well.
But it's fun. This is a great topic. And finding out there's a lot more people that believe than don't, I think, at this point.
Right. Right.
So, and the the paranormal, there's so much to it and so many different topics that you can discuss that the world's your oyster, I think, in this field.
Yeah. It's because we got out again. At least we're still healthy enough to get back out there again, right?
Yeah.
I'll keep going until I have Mel pushing her out of a wheelchair. I was like, what?
We'll get you a little backpack and I'll just carry you around. It'll be fine.
Yep. Just keep plugging.
Carry me upstairs, Mel. Yeah. They could do a fireman carry.
Get you a little motor scooter thing.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, the stairs get a little rough and they'll hot at this past weekend. Up and downstairs. I mean, they had the elevator, but that would be silver on their side or do a flight of 15 stairs. So,
yeah.
Mel being,
I took the elevator a few times myself. So.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stairs.
Yeah. I think I'm letting do the elevator. Because I remember being there 3 years ago when I was there.
Yeah.
So I think I asked for one and I was there, they didn't have one. So it looked new. It was tiny. I mean,
it's slow.
Oh my God, really? It was. I told Mel, I said, well, we'll get the elevator going to the 3rd floor and get there in 30 minutes. See how they did it? Right. It was all says flow.
Yeah. It's like the rest of my team took the stairs and we're all up there waiting.
I would just actually just smile down and we're doing this thing while they're down and like.
Oh, that's funny.
Or they got the hamster wheel lying there going.
Yeah, my team was like, we thought you got stuck. Just moving really slow.
Really 3 floors,
But I'm glad they put that in because that beats doing all the fun.
It was nice. They were use it.
Yeah, and I like that when they did the tour and you got to the top, the only place you had to go was down. You didn't have to come back up. There were the stairs, and I'm like, okay, I'm good with that.
We did a self tour because I don't like to hold people up, and you walk around and talk to different. It was different.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun.
Yeah, it's fun. A really cool place. My brother really liked that. They had something thrown at them when they investigated there.
Wow.
So I think they even had that on video.
I'll dog with our state.
Yeah. So I'm ready to go back there and actually investigate because I've only been there during the conference.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on my bucket list.
Yeah, me too. I think it would be really cool to investigate there. I was walking around and I really like being in kind of old buildings like that anyway, and it was really cool to see it in the broad daylight to get all of the details and things like that. But it's definitely, it would be cool to investigate.
Yeah, and it's cool with the having the Shawshank Redemption film there. And,
that was awesome.
Yeah, it's like, I remember seeing this floor, or whatever. So it's a lot of neat history, and the museum was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking forward to going back.
Yeah, we'll see if there next year. Meal got back in. I got to see Andrew. I still want to see I was there because I figured he'll stay the whole time. Because Mel had an extra hour drive, I think. So,
Hour and a half
drive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was 4.5 or 5. It was almost 5 hours for us.
Yeah.
So, but it was worth it. We drove up and then drove back that night. But it was worth it. It was a lot of fun.
We had a 5-hour drive investigation already. So we did in New York and Pennsylvania. So, and that was 5-6 hour drive from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not so bad when you can get a hotel and stay overnight. or stay the next day, basically, and sleep
Oh,
until you come home.
Yeah. That's what we did in South when there.
Uh-huh.
But not do that with showroom. So.
Yeah,
And it's just stay the whole weekend. Come on Sunday. That's why the investigation go back to his house, sleep till Sunday leave, and he used to get like 6 hours sleep before driving home at 8 hours.
Yeah, because paranormal hangovers are real.
Oh God! I told her today I have a paranormal hangover. I'm like,
Yeah.
it is awful. I tell you, like for 3 days, I'm out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's rough.
Yeah. I used to get my Evans. I used to come home and start the Evans right? But that was like 20 years ago. I'll do that shit anymore. Can't stop anymore. See that French. Well, it's the kiddie shows now. So I just want to that place you're going to. What other places would you like to go to? What's on your bucket list?
We want right now we're going to go back to some places, but we really want to do Perryville, the Civil War battlefield.
Oh yeah.
So that's on our bucket list, and then let's see, there was something else because we want to do battlefield, and then we also want to go to Hell's Gate in E-Town, which is a really old cemetery. It's not a place that you can like book an investigation. You just have to go investigate. But I'd like to do that probably during the week because they said the weekends is when all the kids kind of come and hang out and try to do crazy things. So I'd like to go try to do that one night that, during the week, which it's only about an hour drive for me. So I could do that without feeling too bad the next day. But that's on the bucket list because it's supposed to be really incredibly active. So I'm anxious to do that one. I don't know. I even love going back to places like Post Town and
over
and over.
I've been there twice now.
Yeah, it's different every time you go. It seems like. So
going back in September with another group that has about 6 people that want to go to for the weekend. I talked to a guy and we have a really good deal with him. So we'll see.
And then we're also going back to Waverly in September. Yeah, Waverly's kind of special.
Yeah, I've never been there. That's my first one.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we've had a lot go on there.
Yeah. Probably got hard to get in there. Have to pay your head to get in there.
Yeah, they book up fast, and then the private investigations are kind of expensive, so you have to take a big group to be able to cover the costs without it, killing any one person. So, but it's it's Waverly. There's just something about Waverly.
Yeah, and I see a lot of good shows and stuff on it, and look there.
Yeah, I think Amy Bruni and some of her folks were there 2 weekends ago and did something. So I'm anxious to find out what they did, or see if they put it on a show or something.
I always try to get the prospect place out here. It's an hour down the road from me. And if you go on the mail, you'll get off a Thursday or Friday. But if it's Thursday, you only have to have a there too. And then that is $70. But you get there at 5 or 6 night and you stay away there in the morning, 5 in the morning. So you'd be a whole hour of time if you want to be there.
Yeah. That's
so
good.
Yeah, my wife is off on Friday. So she come pick me up. Just have to. But that's an awesome place I heard to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have somebody in comments, but I'm not sure if we'll give it to them because if somebody being naughty, so I had to block the comment. So, I mean, if somebody's in there, they comment, I know it won't be him. So if you comment something, say hi or something, then you'll probably get booked because they're one person around. So if not, Mel gets booked.
Yeah, so I won't cry if nobody wants to speak up, because...
Well, I said to we might have, like Wednesday is kind of hard to get people watch live, but within the week or so, we usually get like 40, 50, listeners and stuff on it. So, but yeah, I had blocked somebody. So, all right. If somebody's out there, it might be me in the comments. Could be me commenting. I'll give it like 1 minute. Yeah, if not, Mel's in the books. So, well, we'll go ahead and it's been an hour. I'll blast talking to you, Lynn, and we'll head back on. Especially we'll head back in November, because you'll have Waverly and all you others for us.
That's right. That sounds good.
That sounds fun. How about Mel?
I appreciate you. Let me be on.
Yeah, it's been wonderful to have you. It's been really interesting to hear about all of the different stuff you've done, and it's been wonderful to just kind of get to know you a little bit.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. All your books are on Amazon, so I'll have that posted in my comments after the show.
Thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
All right. It's a pleasure having you on.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Oh, of course, I always love to talk about some paranormal stuff. So.
Oh, we do. So. I'll talk for hours, but
that's right.
Also, get hungry. I don't get hungry. It is what it's. All right. Well, till next time, everybody. Have a morning. Thanks, Lynn. Have a morning.
Thank you.